how much does the social fabric impact our economic growth and the potential to bring in more investors? And I'm sure you see what's happening in the country at the moment with communal tensions, and every other headline, by the way, on every channel tonight is about a Mandir Masjid Rao over a shivling that one group claims has been found in a mosque complex. So this is the India we're dealing with right now. How is that, if at all, impacting our growth, our in the long run, and also the way investors look at us? Or does it make no impact at all?
I think it makes an impact. I think the story on India before this economic story was largely, I think, in the Western media was relatively negative. I think highlighting not the, I think there's some successes. I think we've done, as the economist says, we've done a pretty good job of maybe trying to expand our redistribution channels, but it was more emphasizing that. And so I do think that the spin is not in our control. And I think the spin matters because people, in the end, they're not really so passionate about India per se. They're just looking for a safe destination for their investment. And when the story is slightly sours, they pull their money. And we sort of know that. They're pulling their money right now. And I think it's, maybe there's a little bit of a self-fulfilling piece of it. So maybe the economic story will generate the optimism, but it's not so easy. Reading the press here, I feel, as an Indian, I feel a little bit sometimes, defensive almost, that, is it really so bad? I think we are in the middle of a social crisis. And I do think that these forces that have been unleashed need to be reined in. And if they aren't, they will eventually clearly hurt us. I don't know whether or not at this moment people are still making up their mind about India. But I think the general idea of stability as being a key driver of investment, and we want a place which is reliable, stable. The world doesn't have too many of those, so we're not doing so badly relative to those. There are not many big countries which are very stable right now, and there's a lot of uncertainty about many of the other big countries in the world. And so I think if once the world stabilizes, I think we really need to shape up and show that we are, in the end, stable, we are humane, we are, I think, all the things that we really should lay claim to. We are humane, we are an open society, we are willing to be generous and forgiving
but if I may, how important is it actually, in the sense that, look, countries want to do business with China at the end of the day, which is far from being a democracy. It's the complete opposite, and they look the other way, whether it is Xinjiang, the way they treat the Uyghurs or the general population.
Yeah.
So why do India's democratic credentials and secular credentials become so important to the rest of the world?
So I think that you're making a very good point, which is that I think the world actually cares more about stability. And China, so far, I think this moment might actually be an exception to that, has shown that it can manage it. That whatever, the Uyghurs are somewhere else. There is no, there are no bomb blasts in the cities. Somehow they have managed to control the sense of stability of, that there is really, you can go, the factories will run, etc. And I think China is actually in the process of slightly undermining that by, I think, this sort of authoritarian kind of assertion of that we can control COVID. But I do think that before that, and I think investors, I think it's fair to say, care more about that than about the overall culture.